Hello, everybody. We're live.
Hey.
It's Ivory and Karrah. Karrah is joining me. She's actually my old coworker. Let me know if you guys can hear me. She's my old coworker at Fox, so it's so good to have her
Hey guys.
back on because I didn't know if all of Fox hated me after I called out the company.
We're
But
okay.
But anyway, so we're gonna talk about a few different topics. The Olympics have kicked off, so we're going to discuss that on Truth Bombs, as well as my interview with the chairman of the Boys Who Are Proud. The algorithm, I'm not supposed to talk about it and say it correctly, but the Boys Who Are Proud, he's out of jail, and I did an exclusive interview with him. So I wanted to interview him to get the truth of like what that club is all about, because the media can be so slanted. And so it was a pretty interesting take. We're going to talk about his take on male female relationships and what those boys, the po boys, think about those sorts of about how the American relationship should be. We're also going to talk about these blockades that are forming at the U.S. Canadian border. And then Karrah,
I don't know about any of this.
so Karrah, you're an expert in online dating.
Sure.
We used to live together, and Karrah was doing online dating.
Sure.
And then
This is so embarrassing.
she knows the whole dating app thing. It turned out super successful.
It's
for her.
COVID. What are we supposed to be doing if we're not doing online dating?
Exactly. So she was making use of quarantine time, and she's just gonna fill us.
You're acting like that was all I was doing. like I didn't have a job. I was just
aside from work at Fox, she was finding the man of her dreams, and now it's ended up pretty successful for you. So I need some tips on that. I've never online dated before, so
so online dating.
Well, before we'll get into that's the whole rundown.
Later.
Yeah. Okay. So we always end the show on a lighter note like that. So, but we want to jump right into the heavy topics now. China, in regards to China, it's the Olympics in China are reminiscent of the German Olympics. Make sure my setup is weird. Okay, so the issue with the Uyghur genocide and the Uyghur internment camps in China has led to talk of boycotting the Olympics. The U.S. did do a diplomatic boycott, but not a full boycott. Now, the exact same thing happened with the 1936 Olympics in Berlin, Germany. We all know what was going down in the 1930s in Germany. So we're going to talk about those similarities. And before I get into it, I got to shout out the sponsor of my coverage, which is Fighter Flare flashlights.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I actually.
What's that for?
I just got this. It's very cool. So crime's at an all-time high in 2022. Recent statistics from 2021 show San Francisco had 56 murders, up from 48 in 2020, and an even lower number in 2019. And it's a national trend. This is why my Fighter Flare flashlight is my everyday carry. It even does this. It does this. This.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's crazy.
What is that for?
So it's good for hunting, hiking, general use, and self-defense. You can see why it's good for self-defense because it has all those tricks.
Right.
If you, because look at this thing. This is insane. That's really dangerous. Right there. It's like a little self-defense weapon. If you've ever been on the opposite end of a tactical flashlight like this, you know firsthand how disorienting 800 lumens can be.
What's a lumen?
It's like the lighting.
Oh.
So the Fighter Flare flashlight also comes with an emergency siren, compass, rope cutter, glass breaker, that's what that is, and built-in power bank, and has solar charging capabilities.
It can do some damage.
pretty awesome. I highly recommend Fighter Flare flashlight. Get the Fighter Flare flashlight for up to 66% off for a limited time by going to fighterflareflashlight.com or hit that link down below. Use my code IH15 for 15% off. IH15. Okay, guys, did you guys watch the Olympics? Are you watching? We're watching right now. People are figure skating. I guess it's Ukraine and Czech Republic right now. So they had their opening ceremony, and the Chinese they actually had a Uyghur as one of the torchbearers to try to prove themselves and say, hey, we're not committing genocide on Uyghurs. Look,
How'd they get that guy to do it?
one of our Uyghurs is actually carrying the torch. Yahoo Sports, they did this scathing article. Yahoo Sports did. The 2022 Olympic ceremony reveals the truth. China has a lot to hide. So the ethnic minority Uyghurs, there's been a lot of evidence that they're doing something similar to what Nazi Germany did.
I saw that
in the 30s and 40s.
Yeah, 1 million.
Yeah, 1 million people, in internment camps or concentration camps. So I guess one of the torchbearers was Uyghur to make a statement after America did a diplomatic boycott and said, we're not going to send our officials there. We'll send our athletes, but not our officials, because we don't want to condone all the sketchy stuff that you guys are up to, China. So China's like, whatever, we've got her carrying this. What are you talking about? But anyway, so the guy breaks it down here. What's happening in the Xinjiang province? It was this is a consensus from across the world of what's happening there. Slavery, forced sterilization, the imprisonment of perhaps 1 million Uyghurs, re-education camps, the erasing of cultures, rape, beating, mandated abortions, starvation, and even other forms of torture imaginable.
Modern day concentration camps.
Yeah, it's insane. The Chinese deny it, but it also denies the United Nations' own High Commissioner for Human Rights access to the area. So they're like, we're not doing that, but we're also not going to let you guys come inspect and see whether we're not doing that.
Yeah.
There's satellite images of the camps, testimony from the Uyghurs who escaped as refugees, and reports from independent groups and journalists who snuck in. So it's pretty bad.
Wow.
Yeah, there's been very little coverage of this. So you kind of wonder
Everyone's
why.
trying to. Well, I feel like the Olympics is happening, so they want to stay in that good graces at the same time.
Yeah, I guess NBC wouldn't want to cover it,
And
right?
all of our people are going to China right now, so why put them in danger? Which they already feel like they're going to be in danger.
Exactly, it's the concern.
Even
like
the president. Yeah.
I think I read an article a few weeks ago that the Chinese government warned Americans not to criticize their situation.
Yeah, or they can get in trouble, so they're not allowed to say anything.
While you're in China, you really don't want to criticize. That's pretty scary. Guys, check out what Nancy Pelosi just said. This article just came out a few hours ago. What Nancy Pelosi is telling the American athletes to do while they're there.
Opened this morning in Beijing. We wish our athletes well. We salute the president for the diplomatic boycott that has been joined by other countries, and the approach that I support. As I wish the athletes well, I do not encourage them to speak out against the Chinese government there, because I fear for their safety if they do. I'll remove all doubt about why I said they shouldn't speak out, because I fear for their safety. So I hope they're safe athletically, politically, and every other way.
Yeah, she's telling athletes not to criticize the Chinese.
Yeah.
Scary times.
Aren't political officials political officials from America or China that aren't allowed to go to the Olympics?
Oh, the American diplomats are saying we're not going to show up because we disapprove of what China's up to. So China's kind of irked by that. and Yahoo Sports is speculating that that's why China brought on a Uyghur to carry the torch. Be like, no, we're fine. You guys are
That's a PR
thinking,
move.
you're thinking this
PR
up in your
move.
heads. Yeah. But there was an article out about basically there was a total of like 13 minutes of TV coverage of the Uyghur genocide across TV networks, across NBC and all the mainstream outlets. In a year's time, they're just not covering this horrific situation, which is so similar to the Jews in Nazi Germany. And it's like, well, does NBC have incentive not to cover
Absolutely.
not to cover what's happening in China when they host coverage of the Olympics?
Yeah, because they're gonna pull it off the network.
Yeah.
And they're not allowed to say anything about China. No one's allowed to say anything about China.
Yeah, otherwise they'll that might be
put in a
bad for
concentration camp.
that might be bad for their coverage. China might not grant them press access or might do something bad. So it's very interesting. It's a very interesting situation. It's actually really reminiscent of what we saw with the 1936 Olympics. I've got to show you guys some images from the 1936 Olympics, and there were big debate and pressure on the American athletes to just not show up. Look at that! Look at all those swastikas in Nazi Germany. Running track in front of a swastika. It's just like chilling to look at now. And back then, people didn't really understand in 1936 what was really happening to the Jews. And
well, it's probably the same situation that's happening now in China.
exactly.
Like, oh, nothing's happening. All these people are making it up. There was a guard who actually, I think they blurred his face or something, or put a mask over his face and wouldn't give his identity. But he said, "I did these things. I was forced to, or I was going to be killed, or I was going to be raped." Yeah.
Yeah. As far as the Nazi guards,
Yeah.
it's
It was
so
the Nazi guards. Like they, it's like, well, why are they doing that? Why are they going through with these orders? Well, it's because their leaders like, you're going to die or you're going to be thrown into the camp if you don't listen to these orders. So it's almost reminds me of Man in the High Castle, if anyone's seen that.
I haven't. Is that a movie?
It's a cheap TV show.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. Reading from the Holocaust, we're looking at the Holocaust Museum website right now. They cover this topic and talked about. It says here, U.S. Olympic Committee President Avery Brundage argued against the boycott. Basically, he said boycott advocates were injecting political concern where it did not belong back in 1936 in regards to Germany. Because in 1935, a lot of Americans were like, dude, we can't go. Hitler's propaganda against Jews is obviously all these signs in the streets he has. Like, Americans didn't fully understand the concentration camps yet, but it was obvious that that Hitler had a huge thing against Jews. And literally I'm reading from the Holocaust Museum website. They're talking about, proponents of going to the Olympics were saying, look, you're injecting unnecessary concern where it doesn't belong, trying to politicize the Olympics and suggesting that the boycott movement was orchestrated by a Jewish-led conspiracy of radicals and communists. So it was like it's conspiracy theory back then. That, it's a conspiracy theory that Hitler is up to that stuff. It's just so incredible.
People can just get away with that in modern day America.
I mean, the parallels between Germany back then and the current situation, it's like you don't know what you don't know. And China does have a state-run media, and China is really locked down about what's really going on there. And
don't ask about it when you're
there. Exactly. So even CNN actually has covered they interviewed a whistleblower who
I watched that one.
exposed the
It's
torture of
horrific.
the Uyghurs.
Horrific.
Yeah, so you guys probably want to check that out. Um, the whistleblower actually came to CNN. That's probably why the only
Oh my
way they
goodness.
covered it. So, you know, I don't know if you know, but the Chinese state-run media wanted to hire me when I was working at Fox.
The media in
I
China.
inter-
The state
yeah,
run
I-
media in China.
Yeah, I interviewed with them. They were
to work
creating
here.
they were creating like this high-end 24-hour network similar to Al Jazeera.
Yeah.
But they wanted me to move to Beijing and cover
You
You
would have
know-
known everything. You got all the inside
well, they
inside
really-
scoop.
they keep the truth from the media, and if the media uncovers inconvenient truth, they're not allowed to talk about it. So
They
in my
probably-
job interview, I was like, so what about these journalists who are in jail in China? Am I gonna go to jail if I cover the wrong thing that the government doesn't like?
Well, they probably don't want you now, or they're going to
They're-
trick you and imprison you.
I was like, what about the censorship in China? This was a 2019 job interview I had with the Chinese state-run media. Chinese Global Television Network is what it was called. And the guy gets red in the face. It was this English guy working for the Chinese job interviewing me, on Zoom, sitting next to a Chinese lady.
Why is an Englishman?
Well, they're hiring a lot of foreigners. There's a lot of Americans who did accept that job. And there's European people working for the Chinese state-run media now. People don't even realize this stuff. And so I ended up grilling them in the job interview and being like, so what about the censorship? Like, do you guys actually do journalism there? And he gets red in the face and he's like, we don't censor. We just know there's certain things not to talk about. And, and I was like, okay,
so just a normal news situation.
Similar to American media. No, I thought at that time I wasn't aware of the discipline I could face for covering facts on the ground. The discipline I could face in America for covering facts. I wasn't aware of how much American media was getting like China. That was 2019. Then I learned in 2020. So that was crazy.
They don't teach you that in college.
Yeah. So Karrah was my roommate when I was going through all that.
Yeah.
2020, you were my roommate.
I was like, this girl is passionate about something.
She
I'm
was
not
literally
sure what
hearing.
she's mad about half the time.
She was hearing through the wall like my Zoom calls with my boss in HR as they were trying to threaten me away from covering certain topics. And I was like, and basically,
Well, for now, let's stay off that topic
since you're still there. She's still there.
News is important.
All right.
Yeah, so I do marketing and on-air promotions. for
Yeah,
Fox.
she doesn't do
Yeah.
actual news, but she promotes with the
Yeah.
news department.
It's actually my first time doing this and being on a podcast.
so
yeah.
cheers to that.
Cheers to that. We always have great conversation.
We do, yeah. So moving on to my interview with the leader of the Proud Boys. Oh, I said it appropriate. Hopefully YouTube doesn't zap me for that. They have
What'd you
all,
say?
the boys who are proud is how
okay.
it's how I screw up the YouTube bot algorithm.
Everyone's just trying to cancel you.
Well, not me. YouTube,
I'm just kidding.
YouTube across
I meant
the
like
board.
social media.
It's nuts. Like literally,
That
the
was also
censorship
another
is so
conversation
nuts.
we would every other day. Like, Instagram blocked me again.
Oh,
I know.
well,
No, it was
I
more
got-
like Fox blocking me.
yeah, it was mainly Fox, but I was witnessing Instagram begin to censor so many people, and Fox didn't want me to talk about it. Fox did not want me as a journalist to say that censorship is bad, that what we're seeing is concerning. You can't say that, Ivory. And it was like, what the heck? Like, that's the bread and butter of journalism is free speech. But anyway, so YouTube and all the media outlets have a they have an algorithm where the bots pick up certain trigger words and they will censor those videos. So I'm trying not to say any trigger words in this. But
Okay.
anyway, I interviewed the chairman.
What are the trigger words?
Well, I say the boys who are proud rather than saying the name of their group correctly because I just learned that their group is highly censored. And now that I'm free of all the censorship, my goal is to tackle everything that's being censored and shine light on it and say, okay, now you guys can make up your own mind because it's creepy that things are getting censored. So I'm going to shine a bunch of light on that and then you guys can decide. So I interviewed the guy who's ultra censored. He got arrested for burning a BLM flag. He thought it stands for Marxism. His family's from Cuba. They were under a communist regime, so he hates Marxism. A lot of BLM people say they're Marxists, so he's like against that. So he burned the flag. He went to jail for it, and he just got out of jail in January. So I just interviewed him. His name is Enrique. What's his last name?
I don't know.
Tario. Enrique Tario. Yeah, you probably are not familiar with this group a lot.
Actually, I want to let everyone watching and listening right now. Probably most of what I'm hearing right now is the first time.
Yeah,
no, first time like finding out through your. Yeah.
exactly. When I was with Fox, I was like tunnel vision on whatever Fox wanted me to cover and stuff, and so there's a lot of stuff that it's like, oh, I heard a whisper that this club is toxic and bad. Okay, I'll just keep covering what I'm covering. But anyway, this is a group that's been very demonized in the media. So anyway, I asked him to give his side of it. So here's one part. The whole interview is down below. Link in description. ivoryhecker.com, my uncensored website, because we talk about things that YouTube doesn't like. But here's part of the interview. I'm wondering how much about you guys is accurate, which is why I wanted to get your take on it, because all we hear is the one-sided mainstream media take on you guys.
Yeah.
So Southern Poverty Law Center says that you guys are white nationalists, anti-Muslim misogynist, a hate group, and neo-Nazi. Is any of that true?
Besides the SPLC being a bunch of race hustlers, I think the only thing that's true in that statement is that we're a hate group, but not in the way that they're trying to portray it as. We're a hate group because we hate authoritarian governments. We hate oppression. We hate big governments. And right now, what we're seeing from the US government, Biden's United States is in no position whatsoever to criticize any other countries because of their democracy, because our democracy here is non-existent. This document right here, you see this beautiful constitution right here? This doesn't exist in the United States anymore. This is a great document, but it just doesn't exist. First, Second, Third Amendment rights, Fourth Amendment rights.
Yeah. So there you go. He called, he said, we are a hate group. And that was kind of like, oh, wow, you guys are calling yourselves a hate group. But it's just
Why are we hating? They
hate oppressive government regimes that don't follow their own constitution, who run crazy against their own citizens' freedoms. That's what they hate, he said. Yeah. So, but they're thought to be like a really radical, violent, like racist group. He's a black Cuban himself. So, it's like, or is a black guy racist against black guys, or what's going on? But so that was interesting to hear that. What was your take on it?
I don't know why people are hating. Haters gonna hate, like can't just worry about yourself. I don't know.
A lot of people hate them for sure.
It's just like, everyone believes in something. This is straight Libra vibes coming at you.
We got our Libra.
Everyone's perspective is different. Everyone's what they've gone through or what their thought process, how they were brought up, anthropology, like where their culture was growing up. So we can't hate on another person's perspective or what they've gone through because you don't know. You don't know. Like, I guess like the point I'm getting to is like, if you're just stop hating on other things and just try to make it right and make a difference. I just never understood about like, I'm not a political person, but there are things I like about both sides, but I know that's going to piss a lot of people off here. But yeah.
Yeah, I just want everyone to think for themselves and stop
It's
being
just
a part of
like,
group.
oh, why are you sometimes people just cause an issue and a problem when there wasn't an issue or problem there before.
Yeah. Just because they're like, oh, you're,
Or in their heart they believe it's wrong, but in someone else's perspective it's not wrong. It's right.
Yeah. What do you guys think? What are the
These
viewers
ladies
saying?
are ignoring us.
Someone said
I know.
we're ignoring you guys. We got to read the comments.
We look like twins. No, we don't.
My super chats are going to be turned on soon, so we'll be able to activate. Oh, Lord willing, YouTube's reviewing me right now. Lord willing, I can get super chats. We'll see. Yada yada. Liberals are going to hate. It's just the way they are made. Yeah, but a lot of the liberals are saying that the boys who are proud are the hate group, and so it's really interesting how opposite sides are like, no, you're the hater. No, you're the hater. But this guy's
saying, why can't
saying,
we all just love each other?
Yeah, so Enrique Tario, chairman of the Boys Who Are Proud, is saying that we just hate bully governments. We hate bully governments. Like, take your hands off of the people. That's what he was saying. But he's like, no, we're 0%, racist or misogynist, he was saying. And they're a men's club. So they're a big men's club that's going back to saying, we want men to support each other because we feel like there's not enough support for men right now in this weird time in the 21st century that we're at.
Oh, for just men?
Yeah, there's like women's groups and like different groups, but just for men to have each other's back.
That's really funny.
So they're he said a big
I think they already do. I don't think we need to create a group.
Well,
their situation. I think men are already loving each other anyway.
He said they were not originally a political club at all. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people, I told him, like, dude, I'm pretty sure that's news to everyone that you're not a political club.
It's called poker night on Tuesdays.
But no, he said, like, the big thing that their club was all about was just like drinking together. They were like a men's drinking club.
Hey, do you hate this? I hate that too. That's great. The thing.
No, and it wasn't about hating things specifically.
Yeah, I'm just
kidding. But it was actually about a lot of their club. He was telling me this. Like, I came into this not knowing much about this group at all because it's been censored a lot. And I just realized how censored it was. I was like, I want to find out what this group's about. So again, the whole interview uncensored is down below, link ivoryhacker.com. So I asked him, being a men's club and having a specific perspective on women and men-women relationships, this club is opinionated about that. So he talked about that in the interview. So I'll get your take, Karrah. Here's some
someone
things.
wanted you to play them a song.
Oh yeah, I do music too. Yeah, thanks for the shout out. Okay, here's his perspective on male-female relationships.
We see a problem in this country. We see things that are issues for the American family, and that's what our number one priority is the American family. I think that and most of my guys will agree, there's a giant attack on the nuclear family in America, and it starts breaking down with the head of the household, which is the male. They call us misogynist because one of our tenets is venerate the housewife. And I think it's quite the opposite. It's not putting women under you, it's putting women above you. Because if, let's say my spouse comes home one day and, I promote that women become whatever it is that they want. They want to be a career woman. They want to be in media. They want to be a business owner. That's fine. But if that woman comes back home one night and says, you know what, I'm tired. I just want to sit home and bake cookies. It's your job as a man to not even question that and put up. That's putting a woman on a pedestal. whatever she wants to do by her choice is fine. But the moment that she comes home and she says something like that, it's your job to maintain the family at that point. It's your job as a man.
So it's the man's job to provide for the family. Ultimately, you're saying
Yes.
the woman's free to either
Yeah,
be a
the-
housewife or work.
Yes, she could do. And again, I'm not telling, I don't want to put women barefoot in the kitchen. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, if she makes a decision, right, you're supposed to zip up and put up.
So you believe in manliness.
Yes, that's our thing. I think what we believe is, like, we're in the times, and you've heard that saying before, where it says weak times create strong men create good times, and good times create weak men. I think we're in that stage of good times have created weak men.
What's your take on that?
That's just society. Like, that's, I like this a lot. Honestly, because the way that we've grown up, or me, and I can't speak for anyone out there, is that, yeah, the man is the provider and the woman, but I think I wasn't, my mom always provided.
Really?
My dad wasn't around. My mom was, there was 4 kids in the house and she worked. I rarely saw her. Yeah. And I said, that's the way I grew up. But our society, and I went to Texas A&M, most women were married by 1 year out of college because that's what their society said. Like, that's the way that they grew up. Like, their culture was, I just gonna need to get a husband. I'm gonna get that MRS, and I'm gonna, pop out some babies. And not to say that that's not important too, because it is important. But it is, if a woman wants to have a career, that's fine. But if a woman wants to have a family and take care of children, I think that's okay too. Honestly, what he's saying is just like, this is how it is. It's like a blanket statement. I think it can be both ways.
Well, he's saying let's get back to more of that.
He
Because
wants more back to that?
because
Hey, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, he feels
I'm
like
fine
the
with that.
culture.
I can stop working. I can just
I
pop out some babies.
I mean, what girl wouldn't like hearing what he just said?
like, as long as you're paying, footing the bill.
So yeah, because I mean, you're saying in college, Texas A&M, you're a Texas girl.
Yeah.
We're in Texas right now. I think Texas is
Where
a
are we?
little bit more about that traditional
Yeah.
culture, but
Of course, when you get to the city,
nationwide, it's like so much different. And
yeah.
but even you in Texas, you just said you were born to a mom with your father.
She was
your father figure wasn't there. He's saying that's too random.
Like, I had a stepdad, but he was kind of a loser. But he didn't.
There you go. So
But
you're
that's
an
just
example.
the way my living. I mean, but if
There's so many people with that story, and
Yeah.
he's saying we as a club are sick of that. We're sick of these men
let
who
people do what they
impregnate-
want to do.
impregnate people and skate away.
But that's what they. Oh, okay. Well, that's just called condoms and birth control. It has nothing to do with being a head of the household. And I mean, honestly, women want that too. Like, some women want that. I'm not saying
To just
I
be
want that.
single
I want-
moms.
No, I want a career, but I'm saying there are women there are some of my best friends that's what they do. Yeah. And there are
Yeah.
women that want careers. And I think, like, that's just on you choosing the right person, like you choosing the right spouse, partner. If you guys aren't on the same note as that, then you need a new person.
Yeah. Look, I loved what he said. Like, well, you heard my opinion. It's like, oh, you believe in manliness.
But you have a career and you want to work. But he's saying, like, she doesn't have to work.
Yeah. I'm really passionate about my work right now, but
Yeah.
I'm actually a very traditional person when it comes to my idea for a family. So once I have a family, I would like to fully, participate in the wife and mother.
And
role.
it's hard. It's hard if you have a baby, and then also, like, I mean, I'm sure we don't have children, and I'm sure there's a lot of people listening and watching right now that do.
Yeah.
Daycare is expensive. Daycare is so expensive. it ends up being cheaper for the wife to stay at home and take care of the kids. But let's say if the wife is the moneymaker, then the husband can stay at home and take care of the kids. Because at the end of the day, like as much as you're spending on that daycare or someone coming in and watching them, it's going to end up evening out. And wouldn't you rather have you guys raising your children, not other people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally, daycare is allowing someone else to raise your kid. But it's don't like that.
I know, it's like once you have decided to have a kid, that's why it's so hard to be a single parent, because
Yeah,
because you have to work, but you also have to raise some kids, and you have to pay for people to raise your kids.
So he said in that soundbite that, you know, these good times we've had in our rich country have created weak men, and he wants men to be strong again and to say, I'm going to provide for my family regardless of what my wife wants to do. You know, once she does want to focus on her kids, I want to be able to pay for my family, basically, he was saying. And I love that. I thought that was wonderful. You know, I've always been super driven. So
I think parents should raise their kids like, you know, a man is a man.
Exactly.
Like, they should be paying for the first date. Yeah, they should be opening your door.
I'm
not going to date that person. Are you?
Texans do a good job of it. I've been a Texan
Chivalrous.
for 4 years.
I
That's all you've ever known.
That's
That's all Karrah's ever known. She
But
doesn't
my
know
family-
how good it is here.
Well, my grandparents are from England, so I grew up in a very it's like another situation.
Oh,
So
that's
I'm not
cool.
all that. That's probably the reason why my political views are the way that they are, because we've never cared, because we were going to England back and forth all the time. Like, so we're like, yeah, long live the Queen.
I just learned how the
Brexit.
Queen of England is actually she's the real leader of Canada, Jamaica, Australia, Belize. Like
Canada?
Yeah, because those are all parts of her kingdom. So
I thought Canada was its own.
so the whole
thing.
but no, actually she's the official head of state. Even Justin
Or is
Trudeau.
that Parliament? No.
So Justin Trudeau is the prime minister, but the prime minister is actually more of like a Nancy Pelosi role, where she's more like the president role. So the Queen of England secretly has way more power than
I don't think she's doing anything anymore.
the average Rio Linda resident
I think she's living in a home. No, she's just eating her
old people.
she's eating her tea and biscuits, and she's
So-
like, Parliament can take care of it.
Once I realized how much power she is, which I just discovered last week, I was just very disgusted that all the American media covers about the royal family is like their outfits,
I know.
and they're actually in control of so much.
You know who started that, right? It was Princess Diana, because she always had like this beautiful style, and they were like, they're like, oh man, if you're gonna be a princess, if you're gonna be a queen, you gotta be your style.
Oh my God. It goes back to the distraction news.
Yeah. It's what
so
but
sad.
honestly, it also comes down to what people care about and what people are listening to. I'm in marketing. Me and her clashed a little bit on what's what. She's like, well, why would we be doing this story instead of that story? I was like, well, I'm not gonna promote a tractor commercial in something where no one drives a tractor. So what I'm talking about? It's just like it's our all right. So most news stations, they need to make money. They're for profit. It's not a nonprofit. It's not a nonprofit to get the news out for you guys, but at the same time it is. But it comes down to a business, and also having what's the word I'm thinking of? Wanting the truth to get out there, which is what you're doing. You're like, I don't care about that. I want you guys to know the truth. But at the end of the day, these people are trying to run a business, and it's not that they're censoring things. I mean, probably sometimes. I don't know. I'm not going to say anything on that. But what I'm saying is, you know, we give you the stories that you want to hear and listen and watch.
Sometimes. And sometimes they partner.
Sometimes
with
we don't know. You
sometimes
sometimes
they-
tell us what
sometimes-
you want to watch.
Sometimes they partner with advertisers in
Oh, yeah.
under the guise that
That's-
it's news.
We would these businesses would be tanked to the ground if we were just not thinking about it.
See, with my advertisers, I shout out like this is the sponsor of my coverage. Like
Well,
this flashlight company is paying me to promote them.
What is it called?
Fighter Flare?
Fighter
It
Flare.
is a very cool flashlight. Look at that. Don't blind the audience. But
It works
I just don't like when these media companies deceive the viewers and say, no, I just think pharmaceuticals
Sponsored
are
by Pfizer.
pharmaceuticals are the best thing for your health. That's just what that's what our experts say.
No, I was
Never
reading that
mind.
last comment.
Oh,
It's sponsored by Pfizer.
Exactly. This is the real deal. We just happen to have an expert, an independent expert, who said pharmaceuticals will solve all your health problems. We don't have pharmaceutical advertisers. Now off to commercial, and then it's all pharmaceutical ads. It's like,
And then the next day, pharmaceuticals are horrible. That's news. She's like, is coffee good for you? Find out tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. next morning story. Coffee is bad for you. Coffee isn't. And it's just like, that's just how it is. It's just like those stories. It's just like, well, which one is it? Is wine and coffee good for you, or is it bad for you? It's probably bad for you.
yeah, the studies go back and forth. But
And
if
you probably did them.
we just need to maintain our independence as media members. And like, I'm not sponsored by pharma anymore, thank God. When I was with Fox, my coverage was sponsored by pharma. And so we were a very pro pharma news outlet. And now I'm glad to be sponsored by flashlight companies. So when pharma is taking over the world, I can independently talk about it and be like, yeah, it's true that pharma just, partnered with Biden, who printed some money to distribute all this new technology to inject into your bodies. And as long as you know the transparency of all that, then it's up to you what you want to do. You want to get it? Fine. One of my best friends was super freaking excited for Pfizer. And I'm like, cool. She's like, yeah, I've read all about them. I'm invested in Pfizer stocks, and I'm one of the first people to get in the arm. And I was like, cool. That's your independent decision after doing a lot of research. Now, for my company to say, Ivory, you're not allowed to cover negatives of Pfizer, only the positives, that was sketchy AF. Okay. So that's the issue I have. When they were like, Ivory, we understand that the CDC just reported 3,000 deaths after the shot, but we don't want you to talk about that. Just say that there's 2 blood clots, Ivory. That's your story today.
But same time, keep your personality. Show your personality.
Oh,
But don't
it's
say
so-
anything you're thinking.
That's what our boss Dart would tell me, and I was like, "You want me to?"
I think he's watching.
Hi, Dart. Good times, but I'm just now I do have the freedom to share my personality. I knew that fully showing my personality would risk my employment, and that's why so many news people are uptight, because they're terrified of getting fired. And I did like that Dart was saying, hey, let's push the limits of this uptight, stuffy newsroom sort of situation and more show our personality. I liked that. But honestly, he was asking people to walk a tightrope of saying, okay, so I'm going to show my personality here, but it better be an aspect of my personality that Dart likes. Otherwise, I'm fired. And it was just too much. So anyway, Karrah still works for him. And I'm not hating on anyone who's...
Let's move on.
Yeah, I'm not hating on anyone who still works there, okay? There's a lot of good people at Fox. And I don't want Karrah, to be in jeopardy at all.
Yeah,
So-
that's why we were living together and I kicked her out.
It was my place.
Yeah, I was like, you gotta go.
So the next topic we're going to talk about is the fact that
Someone goes, now I'm curious about the flashlight.
Here it is, you guys.
Wait,
Link below. So the link to this company is below the video. Fighter Flare. They better pay me well. I just shouted them out like 3 times in one video. Yeah, it has a glass breaker on the side that cannot. Also, if a bad guy's coming at me, I can just be like,
Would you just hit him in the temple with it?
oof. Yeah, I guess.
That's
if
what I
he's-
want to do.
Yeah, that's
Or eyeball.
I mean, if you're getting attacked by some creeper, heck yeah. Okay, so here's the deal. The convoy to Canada, to Ottawa, happened, and now it's the occupation in Ottawa. I think it's like the 7th day now that these truckers are lining the streets surrounding Parliament in Canada. Justin Trudeau is still in hiding. He's furious. It's hilarious. And now Americans are actually blocking some of the borders. One of the biggest ports of entry, according to media, is in Montana. And there is there's a big blockade there. I want to show you guys one of these. This is the BBC covering. BBC has actually done some pretty unbiased coverage. Pretty surprising. I mean, actually, maybe it's good because the BBC's removed, from the Americas. So here we have the Freedom Convoy blockade at Alberta border crossing unlawful, according to the Canadians. Which, I think it is unlawful to block a freeway, but sometimes you have to. I mean, this is
Someone's like
this is
having
actually-
a baby.
I know, right? Just
What if
you're
you're like-
gonna have to
what if you're
off-road
like-
it in the grass.
What if you're like in labor?
But this is actually reminiscent of the BLM protest where they would stand on the freeway, which is very dangerous to your safety when you're just physically standing on a freeway where people drive 80 miles per hour. And you just put your body in the middle of 6 lanes. I know when I was some of the biggest BLM protests first started in Minnesota, where I was a reporter for NBC at the time, and I went out on those freeways covering those people. And anyway, so here we have another highway blockade. This time, people are safely in their trucks where they can't get hit by a car. And more convoys are started. Yesterday's YouTube Live, I interviewed several grassroots organizers who are planning convoys to the Michigan-Canada border and the New York-Canada border. A group from Tennessee is going to be departing tomorrow to drive up to the Michigan border. Actually, I have it on the map here because I know a lot of us are not up on our geography. And I was like, gosh, that's where Canada meets Michigan. So Detroit is on the border with Canada here.
It's in the South, right?
Yeah, I literally, I thought so when they said that they were going to be blockading, I thought it was northern Michigan. I literally thought it was going to be like, because we have the northern part of Michigan up here. I thought it was going to be up here, but they're actually at this bridge in Michigan here. There's people making a scene. So it's not the highway is not blocked here, but there's people making a scene there that basically an anti-government leader scene. But the convoy is starting tomorrow. They're supposed to arrive on Sunday. And these people, I think they're going to try to actually block the road. The New York convoy hasn't been arranged yet, the organizer told me. But let me show you what it looks like. This is at the Windsor Tunnel in Detroit that people are blocking it off. Or right now, they're just creating a scene on the bridge of Windsor Tunnel. Let me show you. One of the organizers sent me this video. Yeah, so there it was. When you look at the flags being flown around Parliament in Ottawa right now, it's a lot of F Trudeau flags. And over that tunnel, we had an F Biden flag. So these people, these convoys, they do not like.
You mean go Brandon?
Well, this one just said F Biden. So they
They're
cut
like,
straight to the chase.
YOLO.
Just in case Biden didn't understand.
Yeah,
Because
he's like, I don't think he gets it.
over Christmas, I don't think he did.
He gets it yet?
I
don't
think
he does.
his wife told him after that one little live stream he did
Well,
where he was like,
well, he's probably forgot already.
yeah, he may have. He's like, that's right. Let's go, Brandon.
What?
And his wife, the face of Jill Biden was like
The next day,
hysterical.
he's like, who's Brandon?
But anyway, so those are some of the initial people there at the Michigan border with Canada. And the organizer, let me cite my sources. Penny Fay is the organizer. I interviewed her yesterday. Check out yesterday's YouTube live. We had a group of 5 different organizers.
Right.
Oh yeah. And so she said it's a Convoy to Save America from Michigan or from Tennessee, but whoever wants to go there, she said if you're joining the convoy, they're leaving from the Walmart in Mount Juliet, Tennessee at 10 a.m. tomorrow and going up to that bridge I mentioned. She said put Jefferson Park in your map. So they're planning this out. I linked her Telegram and things on my last video, but that's what's going on. So these people are planning convoys to the border first, and then after Ottawa's occupation is over, then they want to target DC with the Canadians joining their target of DC. I found this all out in my YouTube live yesterday. I was like, oh boy. So the Canadians the Canadian truckers were like, we will help you target DC once we're done with Trudeau in Ottawa. They're asking for all these crazy mandates to go away, and then they'll stop targeting Ottawa. So that's the issue. You guys are hating on Biden in the comment section. Operation Spank Brandon.
I saw that.
You girls were roommates. Yeah, we were roommates.
We were roommates.
During the pandemic.
Yeah.
Oh my word.
So yeah, I was there when
So much
when
drama.
all the stuff was happening. I guess like it was the catalyst. It was like probably a year before that you came out with that.
Yeah, it was because it started 10 months before I called them out live on TV.
Yeah. So I remember just that moment. I'm like, I can't tell. Like, it's just like, I remember just like, whatever it is, like, I remember just being like, this is important to her, but whatever it is, it's like, it was making me really mad, but I know what it is now. But I remember in that moment, like when I was like thinking through it, and
yeah,
and it's just like, it's just funny to like look back on it. I'm like, I had no idea she was going to do that.
Yeah, it was a straight up assault on
Yeah.
journalism. That was the issue.
Yeah.
Like if it was a personal workplace dispute, like I had a boss who personally disliked me or something, that's a different thing. But it wasn't an assault on journalism. And me and my boss got along fantastic.
Yeah, you
like,
loved her.
I was accused of being teacher's pet.
Yeah. I remember I'd want to kind of do the dish with the employees, and she's like, no, I love her. And I'm
I was
like,
like, Susan rocks, and
Oh,
Susan
well,
and
now
I
you
just got each other. No, everyone knows who my boss is, and people who've paid attention
I
to
was
my
trying
story.
not to say any names.
But yeah, she and I got each other. She's a Leo. I'm an Aquarius.
Sure.
Soul pod. My boss and I loved each other. So when she started to discipline me out of left field, I knew it
See,
wasn't
that's why I
coming
didn't
from
take
her.
it. See, that's why I didn't take it seriously when you were telling me like, oh, Susan is, and like you're kind of, and I'm like, well, you guys are fine. You love each other. And then I was like, oh, shit.
No, it was coming from above. So that was the issue. But it was crazy once the whole pandemic hit, like all the Fox rules that we were subjected to, like Fox employees couldn't hang out together anymore. And like, but we lived together. And so for 4th of July,
Oh my god.
we were like seen in a picture together for 4th of July, and HR called us. And we're like, dude, we live
There
together.
were like 5 people. But I guess the way it's because Ivory posts a lot and she posts a picture. There wasn't a lot of people in the picture. But we got because
Yeah.
she had a 4th of July.
They sent us to
at our own
quarantine.
apartment. I was like, well, we're working from home anyway. Where am I gonna go?
We went to our empty pool and we got sent to
There's nobody
quarantine
there.
by Fox.
There was like 5 people at the
And-
party.
But these were all Lachlan Murdoch's rules. We would get his emails about like, we're so proud of Fox Corp for how we're playing it safe in this pandemic.
You can't talk crap about the company I work for.
Look, I'm saying
Once
saying
I
positives,
leave.
right?
Once I leave.
We're saying positives. We're very proud.
Very
I'm
proud.
a very sarcastic person.
Hey, if it wasn't for them, we would have never met.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
What's next?
So
What's next?
the final chapter of today's coverage is in regards to online dating, which is booming more than ever due to the pandemic. And Karrah has insight on the best ways to approach online dating.
I don't know if I have the best approach. I would say my profile was probably, I would give it like a 78 out of 100. Like if it was on a grade scale. No, I was a pandemic divorce.
You got divorced in the pandemic.
I got divorced in March 2020. It was like right when we
Oh,
got
wow.
quarantined. We were quarantined like a month.
You can't blame the pandemic.
I'm not blaming on the pandemic because I'm pretty sure my ex-husband was having sex with women well before the pandemic.
Oh,
Um,
yikes.
sorry, I was.
No,
I
this
mean-
is truth bombs.
Well,
we keep
it's
it
truth
real.
bomb.
We keep it
So
real.
we did some therapy, which I 100% recommend for everyone if you're in a bad relationship or not. If you couples therapy or just alone therapy, which I love, I always recommend. But I think like that, it's funny. It's like we went into therapy and then we did couples therapy after that, and then he stopped going, and I just kept going, and I kept going, and I kept going every week,
Wow.
and he stopped going, and then I was still the one that was still trying to fight for the relationship after I found out he cheated. But like, you
Oh
know,
my
at the end of the day,
gosh.
like everyone deserves someone who wants to be there and wants to stand up for you. And you know, I'm
He gave
31, so I know what I'm looking for.
her ex gave some other chick like a big Valentine.
Oh yeah, like that was on Valentine. I remember it was Valentine's Day.
While you guys were married.
Yeah, and I found out he sent her flowers and all that, and yeah, and he said, I'm going out of town for work, and he never came back. No, I'm just kidding. It's a long story, and you're a bunch of strangers, so.
So she
But,
ditched
okay,
him
so-
and moved in with me, and the online dating commenced.
Okay, yeah, so yeah, that was just giving you a little backstory. So it's pandemic. I'm alone for the first. I'm quarantining by myself in this big old home by myself. This is before I moved in with you, and you know, after a while, yeah, and then I moved in. It's like, how do you meet a man during COVID 2020? Like during 2020, and honestly, it was Hinge. We're not sponsored, but we would like to be if you want. It was Hinge, and I 100% recommend for anyone out there because it's not like Bumble, it's not like Tinder, it's not like a hookup website. It's for people who are actually looking for their like just something that
Really?
yeah. So it's more like it's like you think of like an Instagram profile, so you're able to like do questions, like prompt questions, what you know, just anything that's going to get a conversation going. And instead of like swiping left or right, you just like a photo or you say something on their prompt questions on their profile. And I believe that there's a very important algorithm. Yeah, stop chasing assholes 100%. No, I'm sorry. Now I'm starting to read the comments. Yeah, and so I created my profile, and I honestly I was on it for a while, and it was just more like for fun, just because you know, when you're in your 30s and you're divorced during COVID, You have a glass of wine with your friend. You're on the app. You just swipe, 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 swipe. It's like fun. It's like a game. It's like
Maybe I should check it out.
absolutely. I'll help you. I'll help you make your profile.
Really?
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. All right, I'll
Cheers.
think
We'll
about it.
we'll make Ivory a profile. Anyway, so what I my advice, I'm not saying you have to do online dating to find somebody. It's just kind of a little bit harder. What are you gonna meet at a bar? And let's say if you're into something, join a club. Join something you're interested in. If you like sports, like join a co-ed team because they're still doing that. They're doing that in Houston. I'm not sure where everyone's listening and watching from, but yeah.
Are you guys allowed to have co-ed teams in your states? I heard a lot of states are not as free as Texas.
Drink some more wine. Scott, looks like you've had enough. mister. But yeah, so long story short, I met my man. His name is Tyler on Hinge, and
She met a Minnesotan.
yeah, he's from Minnesota. He went to Wisconsin.
Oh, that's where I'm from.
No.
Oh, I approve of him because he's an Aquarius like me, and Aquarius is the coolest sign.
Yeah, and his birthday's on Valentine's Day.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's coming up.
Mine's the 16th.
Yeah, y'all are both Aquariuses, but yeah, we've been together about 1.5 years, and it's been really great. And
But
yeah,
like she went through so many dates to find him. So like how did you figure out, because you would weed guys out pretty quick.
yeah, so yeah, when you're in your 30s versus when you're in your 20s, you know what you're looking for when you're in your 30s, like especially if you've been married, like you've gone through all that. You know what your standard is. You know what what you're not going to deal with and what you are going to deal with. I think that made it a lot easier. I think what women sometimes settle or just like, oh, well, I can change that. That'll be okay. I think for me, I was just like, I know where it can get to. Like and you know when someone likes you a lot too. You want someone to really like you. You want, if you feel like they're not calling you, they're not texting you as much as you want, and even when you say like, hey, I
Yeah.
would like a little bit, and they're still not, that means they don't like you. And
Well-
no one, and I don't care if I'm like, there's so many
I
freaking people out there.
had an ex who would not talk to me enough, but I knew for a fact he was a workaholic who was really stressed about getting his promotion, and I knew that he was really into me, but that he was stressed about his promotion.
But he wasn't into
But at
you
the
enough.
same time, I'm an air sign, and
It's like, where are we going with this?
air signs are out of sight, out of mind. If you don't show me that you're in a relationship with me, I will forget that I'm in a relationship.
What's your love
with you.
language?
Touch. We love each other. I figured this out at the pool downstairs with my ex,
Oh yeah.
Connor.
Oh. I was
We're-
gonna be
we're
like, oh,
let's take
and
the
I was
love.
gonna be like, oh, Connor.
I had two pandemic boyfriends, and
What was the other one? Oh, I remember
hippie.
the dread guy. He knew I was a Libra without meeting me.
I probably told him.
Oh no, he said he's never. So y'all, the first time
Oh,
I
he's
met
good
him,
at guessing signs.
that's creepy. It
Yeah,
was so creepy.
It's very Aquarius.
So he came up and he was like, "You're a Libra," and I was like, "Mister with the dreadlocks."
Yeah. I tried dating a gym rat and then a gym rat frat boy and then a hippie. And I was like,
Well, you even said like, "Oh, Connor." He's probably watching right now. No, I think you're like, I'm looking for a man. I'm looking for a grown-up man. And he was like, a boy.
well, that's all on me for dating someone younger than me.
But
I
you knew back then. You knew.
And I was like, well, he's really nice and persistent and he seems manly. He's too young,
Reliable.
but it's quarantine. Everyone's in quarantine, so I guess I'll date him.
Yeah,
And he
so-
was very wonderful. But
So I was on the apps and she was settling.
Exactly.
I'm
I
just
was
kidding.
settling for someone too young. When these guys are my age, they'll probably be killing it.
Sure.
I need someone older than me.
Well,
I
and
prefer older.
ooh, this is a good question. So I noticed we mostly
What-
have
what are
men
the
watching here.
questions?
I would like to get women input, but
Women, chime in.
yeah.
Oh, what
chime
question
in.
are you
Why do we
looking
only
at?
have guys coming in.
What
talking
are
to
you-
us?
What are
Do you
what?
guys have OnlyFans? No. What's happening?
Oh, do you guys have OnlyFans? Yeah. Absolutely not. My OnlyFans is ivoryhacker.com. That's where my interview with Enrique Tario
How
is.
much are you willing to pay us?
So
Oh, what I was getting to. Do you guys think, like, is it age or is it just like a level of maturity? Because I know, there can be 25-year-olds out there, let's say girls in their 30s, they're like, I'm looking for an older man. I need an older man. And then they meet an older man, but he's still acting like he's 19. I just think it depends on the person. It depends
yeah,
on their maturity. I mean, it's like you think if someone older, they're going to be more mature. That's not true. It's not true. Because I have a girlfriend who's dating a guy that's younger than her, and he's a lot more mature than any of the guys she's ever dated before that.
it does depend on the person for sure. I just feel like I'm more fully able to be a female when I'm with a guy who's older than me. That's right. Your guy's slightly younger than me. See,
He's like 6. Yeah,
6
he's
months.
turning 31 on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, that's nothing. Like you guys are on the same page. My guys, the first dude was 6 years younger, and the second dude was 4 years younger. It's too much. I need a guy.
But that's what you're going for.
No, I've always wanted a guy older than me, but in quarantine it was slim pickings. So,
Because you weren't on Hinge.
right, everybody was on Hinge,
Yeah.
and I had this pride about me, which I still have.
If
which
Hinge
is like,
calls for a sponsorship, I better be involved.
it'll be because of you. Right, I'm giving them a huge advertisement today.
Yeah.
So I had too much pride. I was like, dude, I'm not going to get on a dating app. And to this day, I never have. But I've seen catfish pages that say they're me. People have sent this to me.
What?
People have sent me stuff like, are you on like Tinder? Because this is your profile. And I'm like, no, I'm not. That's not me.
Oh, you did. You said that there's people trying to be you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me that.
So just be aware. If you see me on a dating app,
yeah,
it's probably
Tyler
not
got
me.
catfish. My boyfriend got catfish on one of the apps. Yeah.
So you guys both went through some bumps in the road to find each other.
Well, he didn't. No, I did. He didn't go through anything. I'm the first person he's ever been in love with. He's never been in love.
Oh my god! See, that is such a millennial man thing.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
so-
absolutely.
It's so sad that like millennial men, American culture teaches
It's so
men.
sad that millennium teach you not to fall in love.
American culture teaches men not to have their heart on their sleeves. And I think that's a crying shame. And that's what I really like. I approached this Boys Who Are Proud Enrique Tario interview not knowing a lot about them. And what I heard from him about male-female relationships I loved, because he was basically telling men to get their heart back on their sleeves and just like
Is that what you're
honor
takeaway?
your woman.
I don't know if that was my takeaway.
Yeah.
My
it was all about-
takeaway was like, hey, this is what society tells you. You need to listen to what society tells you instead of what you actually want. If you want that, then do it. If you want something different, then do that.
He was saying, my take was that he was saying that society currently tells you
Yeah.
that men are little pussies. It's okay to be a little pussy.
I
if you're
meant
men.
like our culture is like they're the man.
You're the
That's-
man by playing video games and impregnating women randomly. That's what our society says. Tyler plays video games. Video games are okay if you don't get
I-
addicted to them. Okay.
I hate video games.
Girls hate video games. And if you look, some girls love them, but I think most girls hate them. And if they see a guy who's addicted to them, and you know what else?
What?
Sexually inappropriate
Yeah.
imagery that YouTube doesn't like us to check. That's another censored topic by YouTube.
So is YouTube
the
like
P word that ends with ORN. Men are addicted to that en masse. I found this out from one of our wonderful Fox contributors.
Oh, like all men are addicted to naked ladies?
Yes.
Am I allowed to say naked ladies?
Yeah, you can say that. YouTube just doesn't want us to talk about.
Why are they censoring us?
Well, because they
Porn,
don't. They
porn
don't
isn't
want
a bad word.
YouTube doesn't want that stuff on its website, which that's what I'm saying.
Well, I don't
they're
think
trying
people
to
are out
say-
there like videoing porn like this is porn.
Well, if
Sorry.
it's a video that talks about it a lot,
Gotcha.
then it could get censored. So, let me just say, our Fox relationship expert told me
Prawn. Someone said
Prawn.
prawn. Said a prawn.
she told me her on TV she's a relationship expert, but actually what pays the bills is being a sex therapist. And a sex therapist is someone who helps eligible millennial men deal with their addiction to prawn.
Porn. Sorry.
YouTube gods, please forgive Karrah.
Prawn. Sorry. It's a slippery slope. I
Some
believe.
guys don't have addictive personalities. They're fine.
Yeah.
Other guys, it literally screws up their brain physiology where they can't actually
Yeah.
be attracted. It actually kills their
I've heard of
drive
people
to
that
find
really
a woman.
can't come without porn being on.
Totally.
Sorry.
Yeah. They get addicted.
Prawn.
They get that addicted to
Okay,
it.
let's move on from that because I'm gonna keep saying it.
Um,
How do you guys feel about like people? I'm moving on from the subject. Okay, girl on girl prawn.
because that's,
I'm not saying that that's what's happening here. I'm saying is that I think that's so interesting. So I know a man who only watches girl on girl, and I don't watch prawn, but I just was like, because he said he didn't want to see any wieners, so he just watches. Is there a lot of people out there that do that too?
oh God.
Start here.
People are saying hello to the big boss. You know what?
I really don't
Big
even
boss
think.
asked us to talk about our real thought processes, so that's what we're doing.
Hey, you know what, Dart? If you're listening, this is what you want. You want me to be out there?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done.
So, boys, just get back to real life. I know Facebook wants you to go into meta world where, like, ooh, I'm jacked out of my mind with the six pack in meta world.
Not all girls want
but
that
I'm rotting on a couch with a pile of garbage around me in real life.
Ooh, I like this. So, also people, just because it looks cool and they look popular and famous on Instagram, they probably are sitting on a futon with no job.
That's called catfishing,
Yeah. Is it?
where you deceive people about your real life.
I think that's everyone on Instagram.
Catfishing is getting prolific.
So it's on Instagram, just catfish.
Yeah.
Go fishing.
Just beware of catfish and meta. So Facebook is onto it with meta. I'm probably going to invest stock in meta because I see how addictive people's personalities are when it comes to the superficial world of online, that you can create a fake little, Bitmoji character that's not you, but you can create your real life online.
Yeah.
Like your dream, because I haven't achieved my dream in real life.
Yeah, there's a lot, especially video gamers, like they get that perception of just like being able to live online and not actually leave your room. That's a mental health situation. What are you reading?
Oh, I was just reading about prawn.
Is this stock advice now? Yeah, don't invest in Meta or invest in Meta. What?
I think that Facebook stock value will go up with Meta because people are so addicted to the online world, and there's so many people who are so angry
Really, Facebook?
that they can't be who they wanted to be in real life. So they're going to create that Bitmoji person on Meta. And I think that's people get such a high, such a dopamine high off of their online life
Yeah.
that I think people get addicted to online life.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot of people are addicted to Instagram.
I mean, I feel like it's just the internet is just too accessible for some people. Like, I think for me, like, I don't have an addictive personality with social media. I would say I probably did like 5-10 years ago. But I think like once you grow out to the point, like, it's not real life. It's you can get your news source there. You can catch in with your friends, but if you're just on it just to create this superficial situation that doesn't exist, that's where we're teetering the line of like mental health situation. Like, that's not right. What do you think? What do you think?
You know, this human life is fleeting, and if you want to spend your short human experience creating a matrix superficial version of yourself, that I guess you have freedom to do that. And I know the elites of the world want you to do that.
Catfishing life.
That more and more people are creating this superficial, and that's what Meta is gearing towards. And the elites of the world want you to do that. They want you to be a vegetable on a couch. There's actually a cartoon about this that's really hilarious from a few years back. Maybe 10 years ago now, this cartoon came out. I forgot what it was, but it was this futuristic society, and everyone was 500 pounds on a little like a little
on a little
floating,
Segway. A Segway. Is that what this was?
They were a little floating scooter because they were too heavy to walk.
I know what you're talking about.
But they all had like these magnificent lives. So that's virtually. So that's what the elites want. That you can just that's it. Wall-E. I forgot. Yeah, I think it's called Wall-E.
Yeah, Wall-E.
That's what they want. I'm gonna have to watch that again.
I've seen that. Yeah, I remember. I know exactly. They're on like Segways, and they're just like rolling around.
So once you're a 500-pound vegetable after getting fully addicted to Meta, they can totally. I know Meta is the new meth. That's catchy. That then they can totally fully control you and perhaps exterminate you if they wanted to. But I just jumped into conspiracy theory land, which I never did. So maybe that's why YouTube just put me down to one viewer. Okay, I'm back to 152.
One viewer.
Yeah, it went down to one viewer. Now it's back down to 152. Anyway, guys, we've run long here because the conversation is just so juicy.
Mm-hmm.
I usually keep it at 1 hour, but
the movie Her.
With that being said, I intend to find a man in real life, not a meta man.
That's good.
So
I think you could find one on Hinge, even though that is that considered meta?
Yes, but the goal of Hinge would be to meet in real life.
Yeah. I would say I don't have to tell you anything. Just be yourself. Like, if you have to play this perspective of whatever you're painting in your head or online,
I'm really good at being myself.
Yeah. I said I don't have to tell you that. But for me, like, dating, that was kind of, I feel like for a lot of women out there when they're dating, and probably guys too, they want to be the person, like the best version of themselves, but at the same time, you subconsciously try to be the person you think that they want you to be. Or like
I'm getting pep talks online.
What are they saying?
Not that Ivory will struggle. That's very nice of you. Okay, so before the past week or whatever, I had to go to DC in Arizona, so I was out of town. But right before I went out of town, Karrah said, "Let's do ladies' night," and I was like, "Let's do that." And so we end up in a pool hall, and there's this guy.
That was last weekend.
Well, in between time, I was out of town, girl. I went to
I know. I was just
two
like,
different states.
I don't know. For some reason, when you started this story, I thought it was like a year ago. I was like, that was
Right,
literally
right.
yesterday.
So this just happened. I go before I went out of town to cover the big protest in DC and then get some sunshine in Arizona with family. Before that, we go to a pool hall.
Did you hear your number?
So dude gets my number.
Ooh. I did. I got a little tipsy.
He got pretty serious in the conversation about like, do you want kids?
What's his name?
Ooh, I'm not gonna put him on
Disclose his
blast,
name.
but let
You
me
know
just say
who you are.
he was like, well, keep in touch, like text me while you're in DC and Arizona. I was like, okay. Being an Aquarius, I didn't. But the day before,
That's why.
the day before I came back,
Because
I was like, hey, I'm coming back into town. Let's connect. And so he's like, absolutely. I'm at like some sort of exotic Indian wedding or something, but I'm gonna call you. He calls me this week.
Someone goes and then he ghosted you.
He calls me this week and he was like, hey, I was thinking so much. And I was like, I need to call this chick.
That's what he said to you? Okay, weirdo.
And he was like,
Okay.
I have a 10-month-old son and I'm going through a divorce. But maybe, you know, once I'm through it.
No.
But honestly, I think you're such an amazing chick. And honestly, if you see me and my wife out, still say hi. And I was like,
What?
I was like, if you're still going out with your wife, I
What?
probably shouldn't be talking
That's
to
not
you.
real.
This is the guy that you met with me. He was like, oh, well, not like that, but
Say like it's like his brain is like what's going on like in his perspective. Like he was just like, oh, I'm gonna call her and this is what I'm gonna say. If you see me
Here's
and
the
my
thing,
wife
like-
out, say hi. She's a big fan.
she's a big fan.
She's a big fan.
2019, I had a spiritual year, and I asked God for realness. I was gonna be more authentic than ever, and I wanted people. I was gonna just exhibit the vibe of authenticity, and so
Manifest.
people keep it real to me. I keep it real to them, and that's what's happened. And so these dudes, they just blurt out their truth to me, and I'm grateful.
But then you're wasting less time. You're like,
I'm
"Hey."
wasting less time.
Like, what if he like never said that, and you're like, well, he was cute. Maybe
Look,
I'll give him a chance.
I-
But after you say that, like, it's done.
No, I actually respect him so much for that
Oh, really? You
because
guys hanging out?
and we're not, but he kept it so real. And he was like, and he straight up told me, I feel like men don't do that enough. And I just want to lay it all out there for you.
So is he
And-
actually going through a divorce?
That's the big question. Like, are you going through divorce? Can you still go out with your wife?
I don't think he's actually going through a divorce.
Yeah, that's the thing. But I'm like, at least he blurted all that out there. And I was like, cool. And he blurted it out with the vibe of, I know you're not going to want to see me once I do this, but
Oh, he like
or,
just
like,
laid it out
while
out there.
I'm just keeping it so real because I feel like that's the right thing to do. And anyway, so I was like, cool, you know.
You're like, and I'm going to online dating.
He was the bad. He was the wrong sign for me anyway.
What was he?
He was a Taurus Scorpio. I'm an
Oh.
Aquarius. That doesn't
It's not
match.
gonna work.
Doesn't match. She's a Libra. She found an Aqua. She's blessed.
Plus.
Yeah, my longest relationship was with a Libra guy. It's the same soul pod. We talked about this soul pod. Like it's in my zodiac.
Someone said he was hoping you'd say that's fun.
That's wait, you talked about Elijah Schaefer. So Elijah Schaefer had me on his show. Elijah had me on his show, and towards the end, he was like, "Are you married, Ivory?" I was like, "No, I'm single." And then we got into this talk.
Mhm.
I was like, "I need a guy in my soul pod." He was
Mhm.
like, "What's a soul pod?"
What's a soul pod?
Elijah's married. He wasn't hitting on me or anything. He was
Mhm.
just asking. And I think I invented that word.
Okay. What is it?
It's air and fire signs are one soul pod, and
Y'all, I
then
used to
earth
live with
and
them.
water.
She's like, the moon.
Earth and water are another soul pod.
Like, I would come home. I come home from work. We're working from home together at the same company. I come home from work. She's like, the sun and the moon and the stars are 2 stars left from the moon. You're gonna have a good day today, Kara.
I love
How'd
this. I love this topic. So, Aquarius is the sign that's most into astrology, so it's classic. But anyway, so I was like, I need a guy in my soul pod. Well, needless to say, Elijah Schaefer had a huge audience because my entire Instagram inbox over the next several days was men telling me that they were in my soul pod.
Oh my god. Yeah.
So, yeah, but I was just like, dude, if you're sliding into my DMs saying you're in my soul pod, but you have a private profile, I can't even tell anything about you. Like, I'm not gonna.
What do I know?
What am I gonna do?
Who are you?
Yeah. So that's the situation. Elijah and Temple Rock. Tim, I just scooped you in regards to the guy from The Boys Who Are Proud. I just interviewed him. I know that you're having him on your show tonight. I'm a huge Temple fan. And he was gonna hire me, but I really wanted to be independent because
Killing it.
I have relationship issues in regards to bosses after what I dealt with Fox. So anyway,
Are we done?
that does it.
I have dinner reservations.
That does it. We're
Okay.
gonna head on off to our weekends, and thanks so much, Karrah, for coming on and saying hi to my audience.
Thanks, guys. Thank y'all for being super funny. I love y'all's comments.
Okay, we'll see you guys later. Bye.